A hurricane can destroy houses, but only politics can destroy a community's unity. After Hurricane Melissa ripped through Jamaica's cockpit country, the storm's aftermath didn't just leave Accompong in ruins. It triggered protest, outrage, and one of the most bitter internal clashes the Maroons have seen for years. What should have been a simple rebuilding effort simply turned into a small crisis. So, in this video, we're going to break down exactly how a government offer, a Maroon rejection, and some very real political suspicions collided to spark a community-wide dispute. Now, before we go any further, over 90% of you watching this channel still haven't subscribed. It blows my mind, guys. Come on, you need to help me out. Press that subscribe button and I will keep bringing you the content. We want to get to 100,000 subscribers and only you can help me to do that. So thank you very much if you've subscribed. Now in October 2025, Hurricane Melissa hammered Western Jamaica, flattening homes and tearing apart entire villages. Accompong, the historic Maroon settlement in the cockpit country, was hit especially hard, with reports indicating that roughly 80% of the community's 260 houses were damaged. When the government of Jamaica toured the destruction, Prime Minister Andrew Holness offered direct assistance through the Jamaica Defence Force. The plan was straightforward. Soldiers would come in, clear the debris, repair homes, stabilize roofs, and help residents to rebuild. Chief Richard Currie accepted the material, he accepted the equipment, but he rejected the presence of Jamaican soldiers. Now, on the surface, that decision looked like a familiar Maroon stance, defending autonomy, maintaining self-governance, and insisting on rebuilding the community through civilian-led teams rather than state military personnel. But inside Accompong, that single decision did not land quietly. It exploded. Some residents erupted in protest, accusing the leadership of turning away urgent help when families were homeless and suffering. Others supported the chief's stance, insisting that outside military forces had no place in their territory. But why did a rebuilding plan cause this level of division? Now, to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. The Jamaican Maroons are descendants of enslaved Africans who escaped plantations in the 1600s and 1700s. They formed independent settlements deep in the mountains. They fought off British soldiers through guerrilla warfare and eventually negotiated treaties recognizing their autonomy and their right to self-govern. To this day, that identity, fiercely independent, historically resistant, and culturally rooted in sovereignty, defines Maroon consciousness. Accompong, one of the most prominent Maroon settlements, still operates under its own council, its own social traditions, and its own interpretation of treaty rights. So, when any external force, especially the military, attempts to enter Maroon territory, it is never treated as a simple administrative decision. It becomes a cultural one, a historical one, and sometimes a political one. Now, all of that seems to set the stage for what happened next. When Chief Currie announced that he would not permit JDF soldiers to enter the territory to lead the reconstruction, he explained his decision in three ways. First, he said the emotional trauma caused by the hurricane, especially among elders, women, and children, meant that the arrival of armed personnel could worsen their distress within the community. Second, he insisted that all rebuilding must align with Maroon governance structures and cultural protocols. Bringing in state military forces, he said, would undermine the sovereignty guaranteed under their historic treaties. And third, he argued that civilian teams, volunteer engineers, international partners, and manpower could handle the reconstruction without state intervention. On paper, his reasoning seems to fit well within the long-standing Maroon tradition of protecting Maroon autonomy. But outside of official statements, a very different explanation began circulating. This, many people said, was all about politics. Now, Richard Currie has in recent years been increasingly associated with the opposition People's National Party. He has appeared at PNP events, engaged closely with PNP leadership, and even delivered a speech at the PNP's annual conference last year. A move that stirred national attention. So when the ruling Jamaica Labour Party offered JDF-led assistance and Currie refused it, critics saw that more than cultural sovereignty at play. They saw politics. The argument is simple. Accepting JLP-supported military help could make Currie appear dependent on the government he frequently opposes. Rejecting it, by contrast, reinforces his stance as a strong, independent leader and aligns with perceptions that he's closely tied to the PNP politically. Now, inside Accompong, this speculation has exploded. Some residents accuse Currie of letting political alignment shape a humanitarian decision. Families standing in rubble asked whether the refusal was truly about culture or whether it was about denying the government a victory. Now, supporters of Currie have been pushing back. They argued that his decision had nothing to do with political loyalty and everything to do with preserving Maroon sovereignty. But the fact that people believe the political theory at all revealed something deeper: distrust, division, and a community grappling with overlapping pressures. Within days of the announcement, groups of Maroon residents gathered with signs and raised their voices, demanding that the leadership accept the government's help. They argued that culture cannot build roofs, sovereignty cannot replace windows, and political disputes cannot put families back inside their houses. Many were frustrated that the decision was made without wider consultation. Others were worried that relying solely on donations and volunteer workers would be far too slow, and some feared that their homes might not be rebuilt for months. On the opposite side, defenders of Chief Currie insisted that rejecting military assistance was essential to preserving Maroon identity. They argued that once a state soldier enters Maroon territory, it sets a dangerous precedent for further intervention. And so the split has widened. Traditionalist versus the pragmatist, cultural autonomy versus immediate survival, and historical sovereignty versus political suspicion. The hurricane had destroyed their houses, but now it is threatening to tear their communities apart. Now, beyond politics and culture, the stakes are painfully real. Imagine losing your home, sleeping in temporary shelters, struggling to feed your children, and being told that the fastest available assistance is being turned away. For some, this feels like survival is being sacrificed on the altar of cultural pride or just blatant politics. For others, it feels like choosing dignity over dependency. The tension reveals the painful truth. Not everybody experiences sovereignty in the same way. For elders, autonomy may be non-negotiable. For younger people and younger families, it may come second to safety and shelter. Now, this is where the crisis becomes human and even more complicated. Today, the Accompong Maroons stand at a defining moment. Will they rebuild slowly, independently, preserving centuries of tradition? Or will the internal pressure, fueled by desperate and political suspicion, force a compromise with the Jamaican government? And perhaps the real question is this: when a disaster strikes, who gets to decide what kind of help is acceptable? Is it the leaders? Is it the people? Or is it the politics in between? You let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget, I need your help to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. So don't just watch the videos, please subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. And while you're at it, please go and watch another video. Take care.